Hello, hello, hello. This video is sponsored by BetterHelp. Thank you, BetterHelp, for sponsoring this video. I have got my app open right now, and as you know, because of BetterHelp, I can do these Q&As monthly for you. This is the June edition. I have literally said, ask me a question right now in this minute. So if you're somebody who asks a question on this here chatty chat, then you're going to get it answered right about now. Usually I scroll and I look for interesting questions or something relevant, spicy, or amazing. But today it's going to be even more spicy and amazing because I'm going to answer the first ones that come through as opposed to, shifting through them. So it's more realistic and amazing. See, first question. And that's how we're going to answer. Tips on being vulnerable and opening up. This amazing lady asks me. Tips on being vulnerable and opening up is being vulnerable is at the center of feminine energy and is at the center of respect and is at the center of honesty. Because if you're trying to be somebody that you're not, and this is such an interesting question that you're asking of me, because I used to go to drama school a while ago and I did 3 years there. And the drama coach pulled me aside and he said, you're not vulnerable enough. You need to be more vulnerable. And I got really offended by that. Not offended, afflicted, triggered. Something happened with me because of that. I was like, but I am vulnerable. I cry all the time. I can cry on demand. I'm like the most vulnerable crying McGee. Until I learned later in life that vulnerability is not necessarily about crying and being weak and febrile and like me in the corner. Vulnerable is about saying, I am not perfect. I am not always right. I could be wrong. I am not the essence of everything and perfection as it stands. I've got work to do, and it is one of the pillars of confidence. For me, there's 3 pillars in confidence. 1 is fake it till you make it and just act like someone who you think is confident. 2 is vulnerability and knowing that you are not perfect and you don't always do the right things. And 3 is having confidence in yourself, means being there on time for yourself, always showing up and always doing the right thing by you, as in you set your time to go to the gym, you go to that gym. So tips on being vulnerable is understanding that it is your path to success in life. It is your path to being attractive. It's your path to being human. It is your path to knowing that you're not perfect and simply just putting that guard down and being like, whatever will be, will be. It is who I am. I am who I am. Advice for long distance relationships. My advice for long distance relationships is close the gap. I have friends, and I've done an episode with one of my close friends on long distance relationships, and it works for some people. But for me, if there is no plan to close the gap, then I'm not really interested. I date people or I marry people in order to build a family. What is the reason that you're dating somebody? What is the reason that you're with somebody? Do you want to build a family? Do you want to build a future? And for me, that's got to do with closeness. So if you have a long distance relationship and the man isn't actively working to close it, i.e. he's working in this city, but he's going to move, or he's invited you to move, I would look for other relationships. That's me personally. How to figure out what you want and what your needs are. Oh, this is a good one. And that's one of the modules in my upcoming 8-week course called Become Her. If you're interested, check it out in the description box. It's not easy, but you need to start following your joy. You need to start following what comes naturally to you, what you're in flow doing. When I create this content, when I talk to women about this stuff, I am absolutely in flow. I am so in flow, and I deeply enjoy what I do. When you find yourself in flow, that means time just runs away and you are not privy to it. That is what you're meant to be doing. My boyfriend and I have been together 9 months. I know he loves me. How do I get him to say it? My boyfriend and I have been together 9 months. I know he loves me. How do I get him to say it? You ask yourself why you need someone who doesn't want to tell you they love you to say it. I've been looking for a way to integrate BetterHelp, and I'm going to integrate it in a minute because a lot of these questions are about self-work. The questions people often ask is, how do I get blah, blah to blah, blah? How do I get Mindy to come here? How do I get Alan to walk over there? The question is, you need to reverse all questions about yourself. Why do I need to get my boyfriend of 9 months who I perceive as loving me to tell me that he loves me? Now, if you perceive that he does love you and he's not the type of person who say he loves you, then you need to accept him for his mute type of personality. Some people are a little bit more muted in their personality. And can you live with somebody who's not going to verbally share? Is that not his love language? And if you know it, then you know it. Whilst if you don't know it and you're not sure, that means you don't know it and you just want him to say it to affirm it to you. So maybe he doesn't love you. So why would you want someone who doesn't love you to say it? So either you know it and you're forcing someone who it's not natural for to say it, or you don't know it. And therefore, why would you force someone who doesn't love you to say it? It's about getting to know yourself. I encourage you to use my sponsor, BetterHelp, and get the discount code in the description box below with my code. It will get you linked up to a therapist, usually within 48 hours. You don't have to go there. You do it online. You can text or you can message, and you can change the therapist really quickly, usually within 48 hours, like I said, to somebody else without that awkward, like I once went to a therapist in real life and I didn't really gel with her, having to change. That was awkward for me, and that kind of put me off therapy until I found BetterHelp. And it's good to sometimes, you can even go and ask that question back and forth to somebody and hear how it sounds. Talk therapy is where it's at. So use my code, go and talk to somebody. Sometimes getting your words out. I want somebody to tell me they love me despite me not knowing if they do. And if they do, then why do I want them to say it? That's the question. Oh my gosh, the questions are coming in. How do I get my ex back after acting crazy, fighting all the time, so he left because of that? My love, I completely understand your anxious attachment caused you to act. And I know that's probably what you have in ways that you don't really wish to be seen in. You pursuing that man and asking him to be with you and telling him you've changed is not the way forward. If you're interested in how to get your ex back, I literally have a video called How to Get Your Ex Back. Not that you should. That's what the video is called. So go in and look at that. But the way you do that is becoming the ultimate version of yourself. You've got to work on yourself so much that you're unrecognizable. Running around after him, if you reverse the scenario, if he was doing something you completely didn't like and was crazy, and then he ran after you saying, I'm not crazy anymore, please take me back, you wouldn't believe a person, right? You have to make a complete shift and a complete change in your personhood and who you are, to the point where you probably won't even want to be with him because you would have changed so much. It is not good to act crazy, as you say, in a relationship, because forcing someone to be something that they're not is not the recipe for success. So you need to become completely different in order to get through that. Do you ever live stream? No, I don't. But should I? I will have a community chat though in my 8-week course. What's the best strategy to go from just being friends to a relationship? The best strategy is, well, I don't really believe in male and female friendship. There is always a side to it that doesn't want it to be just friendship. And I think from this, it seems like it's your side, unless, of course, it's him who's always wanted you, but you've always seen him as a friend and now you've changed your opinion. The best way is, if you were the one who was blocking the relationship and he's always wanted you, is for you to now say a joke, a little female flirtation, a little drop of the handkerchief, like, I'd like a boyfriend like you. And see what he says. Start to open up that jest. If he does not respond, that means he doesn't see you that way and it's always been you who's wanting him. When is the wait over? Finding the one. Been living my life to the fullest, still waiting for the one. Let me see your profile. How do I see your profile? Okay. View profile. Private. Can't see you. You look fun. You're wearing a cute top. Okay. Energy is real. And when you say, when is the wait over? I've been living my life to the fullest. I know that this sounds so annoying, but you are in waiting energy. And not that you shouldn't be. I love, and like in my book, The New Rules, I say one of the rules is it's okay to want and need a man. The key is to want and need a man, but not feel like you will completely crumble without one. It's not a wait. Your life is joyful and incredible. And I usually don't give this advice, but I'll give it to you because I think this is the advice you need. Your life is already amazing. Not everybody gets to live an incredible life, and it sounds like you're living one. And if you are lucky to find someone, you will. But let go of that wanting energy, because that's not going to get you anywhere. How do you keep yourself from slipping emotionally from childhood trauma with your man? This is a really good question for me because I get you, girl. I get you. Or boy, says Jack. I get you, boy. The thing about childhood trauma is it's so easily triggered by people in your life currently, because you find people to be with that kind of exemplify that person. Like, I was always attracted to people who didn't really have time for me, I guess because of my absent father / just dad not being around. I always wanted to find a man who kind of didn't have time for me, whether it was due to work or lack of interest, and then I would like change them over in order to like me, and then I'd win my dad's affection. Not, but you know what I mean. But when you find someone that you genuinely want to be with and they're secure and they love you, the way you stop yourself from slipping into childhood trauma is you form new neural pathways and understandings of the fact that if you do act secure and not triggered and childish and in pain and in want, they will actually respond better to you. Because the only reason that you start slipping emotionally and becoming difficult to be with and really, really hard is because your childhood self has decided that is the only way to win affection and love and attention in your life. And it's not. The way to do that is through mutual respect, through being attractive, through being playful, through being spicy, sexy, and all those things. That's actually much more enjoyable. And you become, really amazing to be with through that, and not through temper tantrums of a child by demanding someone be with you. And it's so hard to understand, but the more you form the neural pathways of being wanted for positives, the more it will stick in your mind. Next question: insights about business behind the podcast, lessons learned to build to where you're at. Now you're talking my language. I love these kind of conversations. I used to watch a lot of relationship content because obviously I was learning about it. And now I watch a lot of business content because obviously I'm learning about it. So you let me know if you're interested in that as well. But the business behind the podcast is interesting. It's networks, it's negotiations, it's contracts, it's deciding what the next step is. But I am fiercely defensive of my audience, to the point of I care about my audience more than I care about the business, because I know that's what makes the business thrive. Everything I create is with the girl I used to be in mind, which I know is the girl, and I partly am, I still am. But I love business. I love building. I love female-founded business. I kind of started a podcast because in my mind, I wanted to interview women that I wanted to be like, because I was trying to figure out how to combine motherhood and work and all these amazing things together. And selfishly, I wanted to interview those women and wanted to know. The reason I haven't implemented an interview structure and got to know these amazing women is because you lot really love my solo episodes. And I'm willing to do that for a few years to feed the fruit to you that you want. And then in turn, maybe you'll listen to me interviewing these women for my own self. You know what I mean? Building business is really interesting. And what I've learned, the biggest lesson I've learned is it's all there. If you talk about, like I said in a video a few videos ago, if you watch it, it's called How I Wrote a Book and Why You Should Too. You find something that you have traversed through successfully, whether it's you didn't know how to cook, now you do. You didn't know how to communicate, now you do. You didn't know how to be pleasant and you were anxiously attached and you didn't know what life was, where it was up, where it was down, like me. And now you're kind of trying to figure it out. You can write about that, you can learn about that, and you can get through that. And that is the biggest thing. Find the thing that you managed to traverse through and teach people how to do it. What to say if a guy wants to be friends, these people with their friends, after hooking up, and you want a relationship. You say to him, goodbye, because he wants to be your friend and he's hooked up with you and he's used you sexually, and not that it's wrong, he got what he wanted, and that's on his business, and that's what he did. But he doesn't want you in a relationship. Number one rule of becoming her, being her, number one rule of Fight Club is we don't date men who don't want us. How to trust yourself after a breakup. Like a kid who was learning to walk and didn't walk the first time, so fell and needs to learn to walk again. You're human. That's how we learn. How do you deal with feeling like you're not enough or feeling insecure or unconfident at a time? I used to feel like this all the time. The feeling of not enoughness is the hole that I was always trying to fill and am sometimes trying to fill. And then when you do feel enough, then you feel like you're too much. And that is just the beast that you deal with until you learn that it's not about too much and it's not about not enough, but it's just about this one beautiful crystal human experience, and it's about who you are to yourself as opposed to who you are to others, and that you've got so much intrinsic beauty in the world and energy to give and to take and do all these things. And vulnerability, let's come back to the first question. Be vulnerable. If you're not enough, you're not enough, Vulnerability is knowing that you might not be the ripest peach, but you've always got your own back. You know what I mean? I'll be on a roll, and then sometimes he'll say something that triggers me. Yeah, yeah, it happens. And you need to learn to not be triggered. And unless it is a trigger big enough to break up that relationship. How are you doing postpartum? A lot better than in my first one. In my first one, it was post the pandemic, and it was my first experience. This time I've loved it. She's 6 months old. She's also a friendly person. My son is a firecracker and still is. God, I didn't know what I was doing. He screamed my face off, but I love babies. Babies are, and humans. I just love human children. Like, to see the world through their eyes is magic. Do men love bimbos? I love playing dumb to get what I want. Men love women who are easy to be with but hard to get. That's what I can say. Easy to be with, hard to get. Easy to be with, hard to get. If that's a bimbo, then that's a bimbo. I'll see you in the next one.